Bill Gates, co-founder of Microsoft. Mark Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook. Gautam Adani, founder of Adani Group. Richard Branson, founder of Virgin Group. Do you know what is common between all of these? You must be thinking, yes, all these are the richest people in the world.
Billionaire Richard Branson, now the first person to reach the edge of space in his very own spacecraft.
But there is one more thing that is common in all of them. All of them call themselves successful in saving themselves from a trap in which every human being is proudly putting himself today.
Change the perception of reality to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions.
I don't care what I have to do. If I have to move somewhere or start something or whatever it may be, I'm not going to put my children into a system that doesn't understand the gifts and abilities I have just because they don't fit on the conveyor belt.
And in the US, there are more than 5 lakh people who don't send their children to school. Ironically, mostly all teachers, because they know how screwed up the system is.
On the other side are you, who probably might be studying in some college right now, doing assignments on time, maintaining attendance at 90, unwillingly memorizing books, and following all the rules in the hope that when you leave college, you will get a good job after getting a graduation degree. After that, you will buy a big house for your parents, buy an expensive car, get married, send your children to a good school and earn a lot of money. But what is the reality?
कितने साल के थे?
सर उस समय हम 18 साल के थे
और अभी
हम 30 साल के हो गए।
30 साल के। पिछले 12 सालों में आपने अपनी जिंदगी में क्या किया है?
जिंदगी में सर पढ़ते गया, डिग्री लेते गया। मैंने 3 सब्जेक्ट में पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट किया, बीएड किया, सीटेट क्वालिफाइड है, नेट क्वालिफाइड है सर।
After working hard for 15 years, you finally get a graduation degree. But now you come to know that you are not getting a job. You give so many interviews, but everywhere you get rejected for some reason or the other. People start making fun of you.
हम लोग को बहुत हीन भावना से परिवार रिश्तेदार वाले उतना बात नहीं करते सर, और मैं 2 साल से गाँव में भी नहीं गया अभी तक। दुख है सर, क्या बोलूँ। मैं अपने दुख और पीड़ा को किसी पर सामना नहीं कर सकता हूँ सर। बहुत संघर्ष से पढ़ा हूँ, ट्यूशन पढ़ा के मैं 2012 से ट्यूशन पढ़ा के अभी तक मैं पढ़ाई किया हूँ, और मैं कुछ भी हासिल नहीं कर पाया। उल्टा हमारे पर फायर हो गया।
On the contrary, we got affected. You stopped meeting people. You locked yourself in your room, crying and praying that God would somehow get you a job. Slowly, your self-esteem and self-confidence start to diminish. Finally, somehow you get a job, but the salary is very low. But what can you do under compulsion? You start doing that job. The salary is not so much that you can save money and buy a house, so you take a home loan. Now you have your own house, so obviously you should also have a car. So you take a car loan. Even unknowingly, you have tied yourself from all sides. Now you are always afraid that you may be fired from your job, because then how will you manage the household expenses? The home loan EMI is going on. The car loan EMI is going on. The children's school fees are on. Gradually, you keep suppressing your dreams and quietly get up in the morning, go to work, and come home in the evening, whether you like that work or not. And then a day comes when you start feeling that this life is normal. Gradually, while working, you grow old, and you feel that maybe I was unlucky.
The gang of 9 got together, I think it was, and decided this is what people should learn. Physics, biology, chemistry, and this is how they should learn.
It's like the newspaper industry, right? More printing presses, more big buildings, right? Makes us look grander.
The people who built the schools were consciously aiming at eradicating the will of the students who were part of the system because they wanted them to be obedient.
The entire purpose of a good university is to give you a foundation to fail, not a foundation to get an A.
A good university is to give you a foundation to fail and not a foundation to get an education system from your childhood. You have been following it blindly. That education system was created only so that you could fail. That education system was created only so that you could become an obedient factory worker. You might think that I am saying anything, but I promise, just give me a few minutes, and after that, you will understand this whole trap very well yourself. So, are you coming with me?
विराट कोहली, आमिर खान, नरेंद्र मोदी, ये सब हमारे इस करंट एजुकेशन सिस्टम के ट्रैप में नहीं फंसे.
A lot of kids just in school kind of puzzled as to why they're there.
In 1706, a war broke out between Napoleon's army and Prussia. Despite having one of the best armies, Prussia faced a devastating defeat. The Prussian leaders were baffled. How could they lose with such a strong military? After much reflection, they realized the problem. While their soldiers were highly skilled, they often disobeyed their superiors' orders, relying instead on their own judgment. In contrast, Napoleon's army strictly followed his commands, which proved more effective. As a result of this loss, Prussia had to cede half of its territory to Napoleon and sign a peace agreement. This humiliating defeat forced Prussian leaders to reevaluate and ensure that such a loss would never happen again. But how could they achieve this? After extensive deliberation, they devised a plan to create a system where soldiers would follow orders without question. The solution? An education system that shaped young, impressionable minds to accept instructions as truth without critical thinking. Thus, the Prussian education system was born. Compulsory education was introduced for children aged 5 to 13, lasting 8 years.
Prussians produced a universal education system in the late 1800s because they were afraid they were losing military superiority, and they wanted to produce a cadre of mindless, obedient soldiers. That was expressly the purpose.
The system aimed to produce obedient citizens and soldiers who would follow orders without questioning authority. By the late 1800s, this model of universal education gained popularity. Initially, it served Prussia's goal of rebuilding its military superiority. However, as the Industrial Revolution, 1760 to 1840, gained momentum, other countries began to adopt the Prussian system to address a different challenge: a shortage of factory workers. During the Industrial Revolution, the global economy shifted from agriculture and handmade products to machine manufacturing. Machines could produce goods far more efficiently than manual labor. But this rapid industrialization created a demand for factory workers. Many people were still engaged in farming or small businesses and were reluctant to leave their livelihoods to work in factories. The Prussian education model provided a solution. By shaping a generation to prioritize obedience and conformity, it created a workforce ready to take up factory jobs without questioning their circumstances. Gradually, other nations adopted this system to meet industrial demands, shifting the focus of education from fostering creativity to preparing laborers for the growing industrial economy.
Corporate types mostly who wanted to produce cadres of obedient workers. And that's why the desks are in rows, and that's why there's factory bells, and that's why it's top-down.
Meanwhile, in 1835, under British colonial rule, India witnessed a similar transformation. Thomas Babington Macaulay proposed the promotion of English education in India, which Governor-General Lord William Bentinck approved through the English Education Act of 1835. This system, modeled after the Prussian education system, aimed to create a class of people who were Indian in blood and color, but English in taste, opinion, morals, and intellect. This educational model produced clerks, soldiers, and workers who would unquestioningly serve the British Empire. Fast forward to today, and many remnants of this system persist. Parents often equate a good education with enrolling their children in prestigious schools, assuming these institutions will secure their future. From a young age, children are placed into rigid educational structures that prioritize rote learning over creativity. Students spend years memorizing prescribed syllabi, with little encouragement to think critically or pursue independent interests. The ultimate goal of this system remains unchanged: to produce workers who will seamlessly fit into existing structures, whether as factory laborers in the past or corporate employees today. Even now, most individuals emerge from this education system with one primary objective: to secure a job, preferably a government job, seen as the ultimate symbol of stability. Self-dependence, entrepreneurship, and creative thinking are rarely emphasized because the system was never designed to nurture these qualities. As a result, many people find themselves stuck in a paycheck-to-paycheck existence with little opportunity to pursue their passions or build significant legacies. Despite years of education and hefty fees paid to schools, colleges, and coaching institutes, most graduates struggle to find fulfilling employment. Some statistics paint a grim picture. Unemployment among Indian youth remains high, and even those who secure jobs often earn less than unskilled laborers in developed countries. This raises an important question. Should we abandon the current education system? Not necessarily. Instead, we must recognize its limitations and seek alternatives. The world no longer needs an oversupply of degree holders with no real skills. Today, valuable skills can be learned online at a fraction of the cost of traditional education. Renowned industry experts offer courses that equip learners with practical knowledge and tools for success. You don't need permission to succeed. You don't need a degree to prove your worth. All you need is a hunger to learn, a willingness to fail, and the courage to keep going. So break free from the trap. Stop waiting for someone to tell you what to do with your life. Stop chasing a job you hate just to pay off debts you didn't need to take. Start chasing your dreams. Start creating value for the world. Start living a life that you will be proud of. Because the truth is, the education system might have been designed to make you a follower, but you were born to lead. It's time to reclaim your life. Are you ready?
अगेन ये जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम होता है ये मोर और लेस प्रशियन एजुकेशन सिस्टम पे ही बेस्ड होता है।